Yeah, good morning, bang bang well. We was talking yesterday with my couple of my pals. I was over at Hammersmith, and we was talking about me when I was unlicensed fighting, and now I started it. I said, well, I come out, moved to Lewisham, uh, went down the pub down the bottom of the road, and met Eddie Richardson, talking to Eddie and a few other people. Said to Eddie that I'm an ex-fighter, this, that, and the other. He said, why don't I go down to Beckett? He said, there's a guy that I know really well by the name of Jimmy Tippet. He gets down to Beckett. He said, I'll have a little word with him for you. I went, "Yeah, smashing." So I was always running, yeah. I love to run Illy Fields, over Blackheath, and I was always running, you know. So I started going down to Beckett, and one day I went down to Beckett, and this guy, Jimmy Tibbet, was there, but he was training some people, but I didn't know he was Jimmy Tibbet at that time, yeah. And he was training some people, and I could see that this guy could bang. He was teaching them left hook, right cross, and all that on pads, yeah. So I could see that the geezers knew the game, yeah. About 5'8", maybe a little bit shorter, a bit stocky, yeah. Punchy face, you know, flat nose, done a bit. You can see that, yeah. So I was in the bag, and he came over to me. He said, "All right, mate." He said, what are you down here for?" I said, "Well, you know, doing a bit of training. I've just moved to Lewisham. I was told to come down to Beckett, do a bit of workout." He said, "What's your name?" I said, "Ray Hill." He said, "Oh, well, he told me about you." He said, "You're a lump." He said, "How much you weigh?" I said, "About 19 and a half, 97, something like that." He went, "Yeah, you're a bit big, you're bulky, ain't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Come and we'll start training." So I was going down there every morning, training, doing lots of bag work, lots of skipping, lots of floor work, and do sparring with Roy Shaw, Les Stevens, Colombo, Steve Ritchie's, Lloyd Wolfram, lots of other fighters. And I was just doing it all the time. Roy Shaw hurt me a couple of times, but after a couple of months of me getting back to normal, I was knocking him about a bit, yeah. So anyway, Jimmy one day said to me, "Do you want to start fighting?" I went, "Yes." He said, "Well, I've got a fight down at Harvey Social. I'll pick you up and go down there." So picked me up, went down over Harvey's, met a few people, and boom, Terry Coombs, Terry Sharp, Eddie Richardson. But there's all down there, but they used to train more or less at another gym, yeah, another more fights at another place, but they was there, yeah. So I got in the room with the guy, crash, bump, knocked the guy's spark out. So Jimmy said, "Okay, we get another one as quick as possible." Got another fight in about 4 days. Went down there again, Harvey's, bang, 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 all over, yeah. Crash, done the guy, bang, knocked his spark out, yeah. So Jimmy said, "Right, let's try and sort something out a bit better." He said, "We're going to go down the Rainbow. I believe, let me have a few phone calls." Phoned me up. He said, "Look, do you fancy a fight?" I went, "Yes." He said, "We've got a fight with a guy called Brian Hall, ex-pro, hard, very hard man, but he will pull you forward, Ray. You know, people will get to see you, and it'll be good for you, mate." So I went down there and got him with this guy called Brian Hall. And it was the time they'd done a film called Box On. Frankie Warren done a big thing, Box On, a lot about Colombo, about Lenny McLean and other people, Cliff Field. It's all about them, yeah. So I got him with Brian Hall, 8 rounds, I think, 9 rounds, something like that. And it was a draw. I thought I won it, but I was happy to get a draw. The geezer was an old campaigner, and he could bang, and he taught me a lot, yeah. Jumped out the ring, Lenny McLean, me and him arguing about fighting, what you could do with the guy. Anyway, we wind up, me and him, Vic Andretti's pub, the ring, going down there sparring. Frankie won, anyway, they got in more fights. And I was going forward all the time, mate. I wasn't mucking about. Kevin Paddock, Kevin Paddock, Sid Paddocks. I was getting some good fights. Cliff Fields, me and him was to spar around, muck about. I've had a few rounds with Cliff. Anyway, and everything was going well for me, yeah. Jimmy Tibbet, me and Jimmy was always together. It was many fights. I was having so many fights. 2 fights, 3 fights, sometimes a month, yeah. You can run on your heels very easy if you start going 8, 9 rounds, 10 rounds with people, but I was to try and get it done as quick as possible. But sometimes you're fighting these big fight bouncers and fighters, and campaigners, and they ain't going nowhere, mate. You can hit them as hard as you like, you can hit them with a sledgehammer. They're just shaking their head, you know. And so I won so many fights. Anyway, and then a lot of things happened. I got a bit pissed off with the unlicensed fighting. Me, Jimmy Tibbet, and Cliff Fields started working together, doing a bit of enforcer work. Yeah, and it was like I was earning good money with Jim, and Cliff Fields was a handful. When he was around with us and we were collecting money, Cliff Fields was one of the guys that didn't muck about, was always in there doing it, yeah. And then me and Cliff and Eddie had great times together, mate. Great times together. Anyway, just a quick video, really, about Jim. Jimmy Tippet was the best guy that I've ever met, mate. I loved him like a dad, you know, like a brother in a way, an elder brother. Taught me a lot. He taught me a hell of a lot, mate. He was the best guy. I was gutted when, you know, I moved from there. When I started doing my own promotions, I come back to Lewisham. You know, but things had changed. It was, you know, I just couldn't get a fight with Lenny. Me and Lenny, you know, 2 or 3 times on the bills, couldn't get a fight. There was them fighters in them days were proper fighting men, yeah. In my times, in the 70s and the early 80s, all them men were proper fighters. Jimmy Tibbet was one of the best. He wasn't frightened of any man, Jim, you know. Some of the stories he used to tell me about him, Billy Williams, and all that, how Bill, his arsehole fell out when Jim put it on him. People say, no, it's not the cobbers. Billy Williams wasn't afraid of no man, yeah? Well, nor was Jimmy. Jimmy Tibbet wasn't afraid of no man, you know? And he had a lot of respect. Davey Old, Johnny Old, Brian Cox, Gypsy Tom, Terry Coombs, Terry Sharp, Eddie Richardson. There were so many people that had so much respect for Jimmy Tibbet, mate. And whatever Jimmy Tibbet told me, I believed it was the truth, yeah? But it was the truth, yeah? And, you know, when I sometimes now talk to his son tells you stories about the old man. And when the boy tells you stories about the old man, they're all true. They're all true. Because Jimmy Tibbet, he was the governor, mate. He was, I should imagine he was one of the governors, mate. I mean, you got Billy Haywood, Harry Haywood. They used to get Jimmy Tibbet to mine all the snooker clubs. And them snooker clubs in them days was hard, you know what I mean? And me and Jim went down Cheeks, used to own by Bill, and Billy and Harry Haywood nightclub. Met Dave Courtney down there a few times. There's big stories about Dave, you know. I will tell him again one day, you know, about certain things about Dave. People say this, people listen, a lot of people, anyways, forget about that. I'll do a story in a couple of days about that. People are going to run me down again, but who cares, yeah? Anyway, bang, bang, all, and good morning, yeah?